Hey guys, it's me, it's Queen Usset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, pass it on to anyone and everyone, and leave us a positive comment at the end of the video. Leave us a positive comment in the comment section and stay to the end of the video because I'm going to read you some of my favorite comments, okay? Now, this is probably going to be a really short video because I don't have a lot to say about this, but I did want to speak on it. You guys know I always speak on topics that really touch me. And another topic that touched me this week was stan culture. STAN culture. What is stan culture? I was talking to one of my clients and I said the term stan culture. And she was like, what is stan culture? And I'm like, these kids keep on coming up with new stuff and I keep up with it as best I can. But I like this terminology because it really makes sense to me. Stan culture is two words put together. Stalker and fan. So it becomes stan. Now, how is a stalker fan? What is that? Basically, if you pay attention nowadays, and some of you might not know this, but fans have always been a little extreme. Okay, some of you can think back to the old days or to present day. Think about the fans who faint at concerts or start crying and screaming. Like, I remember Michael Jackson. Back in the old days, during when I was a young girl, Michael Jackson was like a pop sensation. It didn't matter where he went around the globe. It did not matter where he went. There would be screaming fans, young girls crying and passing out. It was ridiculous. Okay. I was watching some old footage, and there's women who would come to a concert for like the Temptations or one of those old groups my mom would listen to and throw their panties on the stage. Okay, so fans have always been a little bit extreme. I don't even know if that's a little bit extreme. Okay, there have been fans who've come to somebody's house and parked outside just to see if they got a glimpse of them. These kind of things. Fans do these kinds of things, and I think it's pretty much been like this as long as I can remember. I'm gonna say I remember it as far back as the 60s. I've seen footage from old, shows, and the fans were screaming and all kinds of stuff. So fans, and I'm a fan of a couple different things myself, and I swear, like, I'm a big Barack Obama fan. If Barack walked in here, oh my God, I might faint. Okay. I might faint, okay? So I understand that feeling. I got you. I ain't even gonna hold you. So when we like somebody, especially a celebrity or a person that we don't really know, but we see them on television and we got a little thing for them, it's really, in my opinion, more of a crush than anything else. And we have that feeling. So a stan takes that and times it by 20. These are the people who are stalking this person online. They didn't go to their house one time. They outside their house all the time. They're at the airport if they find out they're coming in town. They literally stalk these people online or physically, and most of the time it's both. So it's the fan on steroids. Okay? It's the crazed fan who is got a crush on whoever the person is. This person is now on steroids. I adore Obama. I have Obama, one of his books. I probably have seen every speech he ever gave, but I'm not stalking him. I even tweet him sometimes. And when he was president, his emails used to come to my computer. I would read every last one, but I'm not following him. I'm not hanging out in Chicago to see if he drives by. I'm not sending him harassing, threatening, or begging, because some people, like, some of these stands get kind of crazy when the person doesn't give them any attention, and sometimes they might like attack them or something like that. these stands can act, really irrational. So, not doing any of those things, I'm just a regular old fan. So nowadays, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I stan him" or "I stan her," and it's said in this kind of light way of like, "Oh, I'm just a fan." But the truth is that you a stalker fan. So you taking it to the next level is basically what they're trying to say. But everybody who uses the term, I don't think means it that way. Because I don't think people will go around saying, "Hey, I'm a stalker." I don't think a lot of people would do that. But you do hear kids and you hear people, not even kids. I hear 30-year-olds, people my age saying, "Oh, I stand this one or I stand that one." And I think for the most part, they're really just saying they're a fan. But if they knew, the terminology really means, if you Google it, the stalker fan. So this, like I said before, can be extremely unhealthy because some of the times it leads to unhealthy behaviors. And I'm gonna tell you another thing that bothers me about fan and stan culture. I mean, these two things go hand in hand. Another thing that bothers me about it is a lot of times you don't really know that person, because I have been a fan of quite a few people, and several of them I've met in person, and I was not impressed. One of them in particular, I had such a crush on her. Oh my God, Becky. I saw her on television one time, and I had recorded it, so I watched it several times after that. But I saw her on television. I was so in love with her. She's beautiful. She's a big woman. She's gorgeous with a big voice. I mean, I just thought she was so gorgeous. And when I got to know her years later, because mind you, this happened in like, oh my God, this happened when I was still in college. I think it was like 2003. And I met her and got to know her in like 2014 or something. And I was so disappointed. And I think a lot of that was my fault, because remember, as a fan, you are looking at the person, you don't really know them, and it's an idealistic version of what they're like. You don't know what they're like when the camera is off. And I keep telling people this because they'll be so in love with a person, and I'm like, when that camera's off, you don't know what that person is like unless you've seen candid shots of them, at different times. But when I got to meet this person, I was so disappointed. I was just so disappointed. She was nothing like I thought. I thought she was powerful and confident and kind. I had attributed all of these characteristics to her that I guess I just wanted her to have. I don't know. But when I met her, she wasn't like that. As a matter of fact, when I first met her, she was kind of rude. And then after I got to know her and we talked a little bit more, she wasn't rude anymore, but she still had this belief in her mind that it was okay to berate people and be nasty to them whenever she felt like it. And I saw her do it to other people, but she had never did it to me. So I just thought maybe she just lost her temper. But then one day she tried it with me. And I was like, mm-mm. The first time it happened, it was online. And she had a bad day and she snapped on me. And I let it go. And I let it go because of the fact that she was somebody I liked so much. And I was like, maybe she had a bad day, and I let it go. The second time, I wasn't letting it go. The second time, I'm like that, because like the first time somebody does something, if it's not too bad, I almost always will give them the benefit of the doubt if it wasn't too bad. But in this case, and in most cases, that second time is what kills them. Because I'm like, see, you establishing a pattern of behavior now. Now I see this is just who you are, and I'm good. So I was just really disappointed. And that was the second time. I met another woman that I had a big crush on. She was a singer. A big crush on her. And when I met her, I wasn't impressed. When I met her, she was kind of snooty. And I was just like, definitely not what I was expecting. She didn't look that way. And to me, she didn't look that way. She didn't sound that way. She seemed like she was much more warm, in her lyrics, I think them lyrics is what got me, because her lyrics were really cool and they were really warm and really inviting. But her personality wasn't like that. And then I realized a lot of artists don't write their own music. So some compassionate soul wrote that song for her, and that is not her. So, like I said before, I would just say it's fine to be a fan. Don't be a stan. Fine to be a fan though. And just remember that what you're seeing of that person, even if you're watching them on YouTube or whatever the case is, like when you guys watch me, you watch me and let's say you watch me every day, okay? Like 4 or 5 times a week, you see me on YouTube. That is only representational of about 0.1% of my life. Okay? It takes me about 10 minutes, 20 minutes to record a video. So that's 20 minutes out of 24 hours. So you saw that part of me, but there's going to be all kinds of parts of me that you don't get to see. You don't get to see me in my shirt with the hole in it, sipping rum with my feet up, You don't see that person. And not to say that that person is a bad person, but that's not the person that you see. So you have to see a person fully before you be like, yeah, I'm really into that person. But yeah, I was disappointed every time. And so it doesn't stop me from being a fan. It doesn't, as you can see, I'm still like, oh, Obama. It doesn't stop me from being a fan, but it does tell me, like, cool your brakes. Cool your brakes, Jay. All right, now we're going to read out some of my favorite comments. The first one is from Luz Lopez. Luz has received one of the highest number of comments and hearts and likes from me. And it's because I really like the things that she has to say. Hey, sweetie. And she said, people are just as sick as the person who posts videos of such magnitude. She's talking about people. I was talking about certain people who post videos having meltdowns, full-fledged meltdowns. Either they're acting or they're really having an emotional breakdown. And some of them, even if they are acting, I really do question how sane they are. And she's saying that the people that watch and jeer at them, which is what I was talking about, are just as sick as the person that actually uploads the video. And that is very true. And it really makes me sad. I'm very sad for the person in the video. And I'm also sad for our culture, because the fact that we're jeering at mentally ill people says a lot about us as a culture, those of us who are choosing to do it. So I'm just like, that's not good. Then Jay Noor. Hey, Jay. Jay said, hey, Queen, loving the makeup and your crown. Thank you. And then Jay said, thank you for speaking on this topic. It was very insightful. I never heard of hate watching before, so it's definitely something to be mindful of from now on. I usually avoid YouTube personalities along with their videos that I find problematic and disturbing, like it's the plague. In the past, I admit that I've watched certain videos and asked myself, what on earth am I watching and why? This makes me appreciate your channel a lot more. I agree with you 100%. There's a channel that I told you guys about last week. The channel is called Deaf Noodles. I love Deaf Noodles. The guy that runs it, his name is Dennis. I think he's so funny. Very light-hearted humor. I love it. And it makes me really appreciate people like that, because when you look at some of this, it's just like so disturbing. Some of these videos, and his catchphrase is, what the hell am I watching? Like, he keeps saying that, his catchphrase. Every time he sees something crazy, he's like, what the hell am I looking at, And it cracks me up because it's so true. We're looking at some of the craziest stuff sometimes, and we're just sitting there staring at it. Sometimes even desensitized to it because we've seen so many meltdowns. I've seen so many YouTube meltdowns, or even people who wasn't on YouTube, just meltdowns in general, and people uploading them to their Facebook or uploading it to their Instagram. And I'm just sitting there like, why did you upload this? And what I'm seeing is that a lot of people don't care what kind of attention they get, positive or negative. They just want attention. So if they act crazy and snap out, they're going to get thousands of comments. Maybe not positive comments, but they don't care. Engagement doesn't care if the comment is positive or not. They just want the attention. So I often look at us as a society, those of us that do this, because obviously everybody's not watching, but those of us that do watch and hate watch, as they call it, I'm like, ugh, we can do better than this. Okay? All right, guys, please come back soon because I have a lot more to say. And if you would like to get a reading done, please email me and I'll hook you up. Underneath this video is all my information in case you want to get contact with me. And I'll see you later. See ya.